Hi, my name is Rocky Ongkowijoyo. I'm with SAP Open Innovation Community Team. Today we have our two distinguished guests. First is Dr. Axel Saleck from SAP Co-Innovation Lab. And the second gentleman here, we have Denis Brown with SAP Imagineering. So today we're going to be talking about some of the research activities that demonstrate how SAP is taking advantage of the benefits of open innovation and how to help customers run better. So why don't we start with you, Axel? Since we are in COIL, why don't you talk about what COIL is, what its role in SAP?
Sure. So the Co-Innovation Lab actually has been founded 5 years ago here in the Silicon Valley in Palo Alto. And the idea is very simple. We don't think that we know everything. We have all the ideas. And why not just get together with partners like Intel, like Cisco, like NetApp, but also some smaller companies, maybe even startups who have great ideas of what could be done together. Why not listen to them, sit down with them, and just do some innovative stuff based on any kind of idea that anybody can submit. This is basically the idea of the Co-Innovation Lab. This is what we are doing. We're not doing just here, but we have subsequently opened other Co-Innovation Labs in Tokyo, in Bangalore, in India, Sao Paulo in Brazil. We are present in Germany as well. We are looking at opening more sites this year. So it has been quite a journey, and I think it has been a reasonably successful model.
Thank you very much. Can you offer one or two examples of a COIL project that touches the elements of open innovation, probably the most outstanding one that you can think of?
I think there's a couple of things. One of the things is, for example, in Japan, basically we were told by the field organization, we should not look just at our typical SAP range of products. We should look at how can our customers really operate them successfully. And our customers have many more worries than just the SAP part of it. How can I make that run well? There are, of course, best practices how to do that. But they have a whole environment. They have a big infrastructure. And it's a country with earthquakes, which simply makes them think about how to safely run them. You can use new technologies, combining partners and SAP's know-how to show them how can you, in an innovative way, use these technologies to do something like disaster recovery, for example, much more efficiently. We did that. Actually, we did that before this big earthquake in Japan, and we got a lot of positive feedback even before that earthquake happened, because people could relate it very much to the needs that they had. And we did subsequently several numbers of specific projects with customers who said, yes, I want to try that out. This is really relevant for me. This is just one example. Another one would be, Sybase SUP, Sybase Unwired Platform, is the new mobility platform that SAP has. It's not just for online consumption, but also for offline scenarios. Now, SAP has what it's always known for. You have these big business processes in the back end. You now have a mobility platform. But what are you going to do with that? So there are many, many small and big companies out there who have ideas that are inspired by their environment, which is something that we may not think in the first moments. And actually, we've had a number of partners in Latin America and in India coming up very early with innovative scenarios using the Sybase Unwired platform. And this actually became co-innovation that is available for our customers and is being used productively today. This is just to give two examples of our activities around the globe.
That's superb examples. Thank you very much for sharing that. So I'm going to switch to Denis here. We've been hearing a lot about Imagineering, and we learned that your team does a lot of stuff with field and customers. So can you talk a little bit more about what Imagineering is and how exactly that touches open innovation?
Absolutely. So first of all, Imagineering got formed about 6.5 years ago. I was asked to come to the company, and the general charter was given to me to be a positive disruptive force within the four walls of SAP. ask why not, and what if. And we have a mantra that we basically follow in the team called, jump and finding your wings on the way down. We find that's a great way for people to open up their minds, and hopefully they got a parachute strapped onto their backs. That's kind of handy when you're jumping out of an airplane. But it kind of sets the tone for how we operate. We want risk to be present, we want uncertainty to be present, and a willingness on both parties' side to find a possible solution. It doesn't mean that every time we engage that we're always going to find one. It just means that we're intentional, we're passionate, we're curious about it, and we're going to give it everything we got. And we've done that with entrepreneurs in small startup companies. We've also done it with customers, and in triangulations between customers and entrepreneurs and partners in some cases. And it's proven to be very, very effective, very successful. Customers will send their people out here to Palo Alto, predominantly is where we've operated out of. And, we get our creative juices flowing together, and we look for the edges and try to figure out what's possible and roll our sleeves up and get it done.
Thank you very much. That's very insightful. And let me open up the discussion here a little bit more. So what do you think about exploitation versus exploration? So we understand that it's very important to us to capture new market and customers by doing a lot of exploitation in the sustaining innovation, but how can research balance that out with more exploration with customer or partners so we can just create the new ideas? Probably we start with you, Axel.
Surely. Research has several innovation mechanisms that basically help us look beyond the boundaries of our actual business. So there's the Global Business Incubator, for example, which has generated several new products for SAP already out of basically ideas that were submitted to the incubator, and the incubator made something with it that really happens. Like, for example, you have smart meter analytics, very important solution, very, very much tied to the situation of the market. If you look at energy management. If we stay with energy management, we, for example, have a living lab in Europe that shows basically the thoughts beyond the actual world in energy topics. You know that Germany has made a very bold move to increase even further the percentage of renewable energies to basically substitute nuclear energy. We have already 20% in Germany that is energy from renewable sources. You need to think differently if you go to the future in that way. We capture this special environment by this government decision in this case, and we show to customers what is going to happen in future, what could happen in future, and engage them in a dialogue just beyond our range of activities now. And then, of course, I mean, that's something we should definitely ask Denis also, because Denis is one of the big actors in this scene. So maybe Denis, you have some comments here.
I couldn't hear you that well, so what did you say?
I said McDonald's, Starbucks.
So, what's your take on that?
On what?
On so this, we're talking about exploitation versus
exploration,
and how can research balance that out?
So basically, I was mentioning some things like, for example, we have the business incubator doing things like smart meter analytics, hot topic in the market. If we stay with the energy topic, there's a future energy center that shows basically in the special German environment that fosters renewable energies, what is happening beyond the boundaries of the actual SAP. And you, Denis, surely would also have a comment from your experience, because you're a big player there. So,
so now go ahead.
So this topic of exploration versus exploitation is a very interesting one. Obviously, we have to provide sufficient time for us, both SAP research broadly, working with customers, partners, and entrepreneurs on various industry topics. But at the same time, we've got to be mindful of converting those ideas and explorations into monetizable opportunities so that we can, keep a vibrant business going for SAP on behalf of our customer base. So I believe it's more an art than a science, or some combination of the two. There's a lot of experience that Axel and myself and others in the research organization have over many years working in this industry that gives us a certain instinct or intuitiveness about how long we should spend engaging in any particular topic. When it's in the early incubation kind of stage, obviously we don't want to have the investment be too great and going on for too long. So small teams being very focused on a topic for a duration. It could be 3 months, 6 months, a year. It depends again on the industry that we would be going after. But then after you've done that preliminary investigation, the exploration piece, you run it through a series of filters to try and understand, is there a market there? Is it actually addressing a critical pain point? Is the timing right in the market today to actually receive the solution once we actually produce it and get it ready for the market? And if so, then we will ramp that up into a more significant investment of time, energy, and resources, both from the SAP research side as well as other organizations across the company. So, again, it's a balancing act that is discovered through the exploration process as to when to convert into the exploitation side.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That was very insightful. If you want to learn about COIL, visit us at coil.sap.com. If you want to learn about SAP research, go to www.sap.com/research. If you want to learn about SAP Open Innovation, we have also a website for that, www.sapopeninnovation.com. Thank you for watching.